What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for February 12th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the podcast. Happy Hump Day to everyone out there. We're just 2 days away from the victory celebration parade, the Parade of Champions, as they're calling it down Broad Street. Looking forward to that. More on the parade in a minute. Still not too late to buy some cookies. Celebrate the Super Bowl by buying some cookies from Ella. The link is in the description. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word. Check out our friends at the On Patterson newsletter. Eagles season is wrapping up, but they will have a ton of Phillies coverage. More on that in a minute. Delivered right to your inbox, so go check it out. Great content from the folks at On Patterson. And all right, I was going to do this later, but TikTok is really pissing me off. So we'll start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. 77% of you said you are going to the parade. Hit me up. I'll be probably around Broad and Walnut, I'm thinking. But if you're out, come say hello. And then I don't know what I'm doing yet as far as recording live or whatever. Bringing down a couple mini microphones and just might interview some people on the streets, shotgun some beers with people. I don't know. But if you're around Broad and Walnut, come try to find me, and we'll go from there. But TikTok, once again, banned my video of the question of the day. So that number of 77% could be higher, could be lower. I don't know. I have no idea why they keep saying I'm putting personal information in there when it's the same video every day, has been for almost a year, where it's the question of the day with the Back to the Future voice and text line. No clue what they're thinking, but TikTok, get it together, man. Quick programming note, too. Since I will be at the parade on Friday, we did get a hotel room. Not sure what I'm going to do. I might record it the night before, so it might be an abbreviated episode on Friday. Like I said, trying to figure that out logistically and everything. Didn't want to carry and lug a lot of stuff. Got a parking spot at a garage, so we can actually easily get out of there, staying at the Marriott right on Market. So that would be insane trying to get out of there. Plus, we had to check out of the hotel. So I'm like, I bought a parking at a garage. So I have no idea. You might see me live from the Marriott lobby. Hell, I might go down to City Hall and record in front of there. Haven't decided yet, but just know Friday's episode's going to be a little wonky one way or the other. But again, if you're Broad and Walnut, come find me. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll have some fun. But yeah, and again, I don't know what I'm going to do as far as anything live. So be sure to check me out and follow all the social media in case I do go live. I will be, like I said, probably interviewing some people, just having a good time, man on the street style. But I don't know. I'm all over the place. It's finally starting to hit me. And like, I'm just even more excited than what I was a couple days ago. And I think, like I said, like a lot of, I don't want to say that Super Bowl 52 was fluky, but like this just feels legitimate. It was the whole team. It was a dominant effort. And for the first time in my life as an Eagles fan, I feel I can belong in any type of conversation with any fan from any fan base. Yes, there's teams that have more than us, but there's just as many teams that have, or there's more teams that have less than we do. So I feel like I finally, I always compare it, like I said, to the club, but I feel like now I'm sitting at the table and can have those conversations as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. If you haven't done so already, check out Saquon and Jalen were on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last night. Amazing. And you could tell like they're both kind of like the straight guys, and Jimmy Fallon was, but it was some of the stuff they came out with, and then the offensive line came out. They shotgunned a beer. Well, Jalen didn't, which my goal now is to see Jalen kind of really let loose and let his guard down, and like I get he has that Mamba, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan mentality where it's all about business, but I would have loved to see him just kind of let his hair down and have a good time. But it was a good clip. Check it out. Hearing Saquon say, "I'm the guy that pushes the tush," was pretty funny. And now, I don't want to give too much of the interview away, but I want to know what they call that play. And once you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Kellen Moore is going to New Orleans. Thank you, my friend, for this year and helping us get over the hump for Super Bowl. No word on whether they're going to go internally or external. Likely they're going to do an extensive search. There's a lot of big names out there. I've heard people mention Frank Reich's name. I've heard people mention Doug Peterson's name, which would be an interesting dynamic. I have a feeling they'll probably go in-house, so to kind of keep some of the consistency. But that right now is the big story. But we're not really focusing on that. Starting next week, we'll start focusing on free agents and the search for an offensive coordinator, start looking ahead to the draft, all that other stuff. But right now, let's just enjoy it. One thing that I've been hearing some people talk about, and it's something that really crossed my mind the other day, was that part of bringing Vic Fangio in at the beginning of this year, there was a lot of talk about how it's going to take some time to fully implement his system and that we're not going to probably see the full Vic Fangio experience this year. Let that sink in. We didn't see, probably anyway, didn't see the full Vic Fangio experience on defense. Most of those guys are coming back. The core group are coming back. Hopefully they can re-sign Bond. Josh Sweat and I believe Milton Williams are also free agents. But the core of that defense is coming back. So just something to kind of think about moving forward, that we haven't even seen the full Vic Fangio experience on defense yet. Yeah, I know. Jake Elliott, want to give him a shout out. He has the most made field goals in Super Bowl history without a miss. He's 9 for 9. He went 4 for 4 on field goals the other day. 4 for 4 on extra points, and really stepped up when we needed him. I did hear some rumblings that there may have been an injury, which helped, I guess, some of his struggles in the season. But I will say, when they needed him the most, he came up clutch. Because if any of he struggled like he did during the regular season on those kicks and goes 2 for 2 and 2 for 2, or 2 for 4 and 2 for 4, we might be talking about a different game. So I want to make sure the kicker got a little bit of love today. It was the most watched Super Bowl ever. So much for the NFL being in decline. I don't know. It's great that more people watch this Super Bowl than anybody else. Watch that beatdown of the Kansas City Chiefs. And then there's another, this isn't a question of the day, but if you want to give your input on this, let's have some fun here on a Wednesday. But has Jalen Hurts overtaken Bryce Harper as the favorite athlete in Philly? And if he hasn't, should he have? I think absolutely. He's been able to do what Bryce hasn't. And that's not a knock against Bryce, because obviously Bryce is in a different sort of category than Jalen. Bryce is the one that goes out there, panders, everything like this. Jalen's just like, I got a job to do. I'm going to do it. And he's done it. So I personally think Jalen has taken over as the face of the city. I would like to see him embrace that a little bit more. I'm really excited to see this parade and see how he handles it, and want to hear his speech. There's going to be some good speeches. I'm anxious to hear Sirianni's speech. It's going to be a good time. But what are your thoughts on that? I think at one point it was Joel. I don't think so anymore. I would say Bryce right now, but Jalen, to me, is the face of Philly sports right now. But what do you think on that? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. And you know what? I'm calling it audible. Is Jalen Hurts the face of Philly sports now? That is the question of the day. Forget about the other one, because nobody cares. When we get there, you'll see why. 267-495-8531. Is Jalen Hurts the face of Philly sports now? I think so. I mean, it's either him or Bryce. I don't think anybody else is in that stratosphere yet. It could be Mishkov at some point. Joe had the opportunity and didn't take advantage of it. So it's got to be Jalen Hurts right now. 267-495-8531. That's Back to the Future voice and text line. And be sure, during the parade, blow up that voice and text line. I want to have some fun with that over the weekend and on Monday, getting some of your calls and likely drunken messages on the podcast. As I'm kind of watching more clips and sort of rewatching the game, one thing that somebody else posted this, and it was a very interesting take, and it's just a testament to this team and their focus and how much this meant to them. There were quite a few times where Travis Kelce was sort of instigating the Eagles. He went after Jalen Carter one time. He went after Jordan Davis, went after CJ who actually put his hands behind his back as Travis was pushing him and jawing back and forth. So I think the composure that this team showed, we talked about for the 3 keys to the game, keeping emotions in check. I think they did an A-plus job keeping emotions in check, because as I was watching some of those things after the plays, Travis Kelce was trying to get under their skin, and they wouldn't allow him to, which kudos to them, because we've seen it a couple times this season where the emotions, starting with Nick Sirianni, got the best of this team. So shout out to the leadership on this team, whether it's coaching, whether it's the other players, whether it's just the guys themselves seeing that we have a golden opportunity here. That's amazing, that because Travis Kelce is a shit stirrer, and those players were not having it. The fact that Jordan Davis turned his back, Jalen Carter did jaw at him a little bit, but walked away, and CJ literally turned his back, put his hands behind put his hands behind him, and looked directly at the referee. So great maturity, and that's what championship teams do. And ladies and gentlemen, we are a championship team. I got the hat to prove it, and I'm going to the parade to prove it too. Yeah. All right. From the highs to the lows, Sixers last night lost to the lowly Toronto Raptors 106-103. Joe had 27. Paul George had 14. Dude is terrible. We bought some damaged goods. If this was an Amazon return, they would tell us to keep Paul George. We'll send you another one for free. It was just absolutely atrocious. Tyrese Maxey, 5 points. They just looked out of sync. I attempted to watch this game. I thought, maybe they can get it right here against the Raptors. It was not good. It just was. They should have blown it. Toronto is terrible. But apparently so are we. But is it time to shut Joe down now? Because there's all the rumors going around now that he's going to need another offseason surgery. It's going to be a lengthy recovery. There's nothing to play for this year. This team is, if they make the play-in tournament, they're going to get bounced in the first round. And if they make it to I don't see this team making it into the top 8. Currently, they're a game and a half back of 10th place. They're only like a game or two ahead of where they need to be. They're currently locked into the 7th pick in the draft if everything falls true, which is not where they want to be. They need guaranteed a top 6 pick in order to keep their first-round pick this year. So I say if he needs the surgery, shut him down. There's nothing to play for. I mean, maybe you shut down Paul George too and have him start off fresh next year. I mean, I don't see any benefit, especially if Joe needs surgery. I don't see any benefit of keeping him out there for what? A possibility of a play-in tournament spot? I'd rather get that pick that you need, because if not, I mean, we have probably like 100 second-round picks this year, but no first-rounders. So that's just my thought, and that's what the question of the day was going to be. But it's Eagles Super Bowl week. No, we're not going to bring it down with Joel Embiid talk. But if you want to give your thoughts on that, should they shut him down? 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Ordinarily, before we turned the page and killed and buried old Philly, this would be a big day in Philly sports. But since this is new Philly and we have a great football team, this is sort of like a second or third story here in Philly sports. But pitchers and catchers report today. And I do feel this is very eerily similar to what happened with the Eagles this year. They were in a position where kind of everything, the locker room had some questions with Alec Boehm there, underachieving in the playoffs and kind of faltered down the stretch. I think this is a do or die for this Phillies team. I think you're going to see a lot of wholesale changes either at the trade deadline, God forbid if they get off to a slow start, but certainly in the offseason if they don't bring it home. And guess what? Since it's new Philly, let's go. Phillies, ball is in your court. What are you going to do with it? The blueprint now has been set. I hope all of those guys are at least watching on TV what this parade is going to be on Friday, because this is what they should be striving for. This is how passionate and how we are as Philly fans. This is like the highlight of the season. It's like the cherry on top of winning. So I hope they're watching and want to take part in it, because we would love to have it. This is new Philly. We have the confidence, and I do feel blow it up if it's not going to work out. And whether that's at the trade deadline, whether that's in the offseason, depending on how the season goes, I think they should be in the mix. We'll get more into a Phillies preview later in the spring. But it's do or die for this team. And you guys, Bryce, Kyle, Trey, Alec, Castellanos, Aaron Nola, all of you guys, Zach Wheeler, this is Friday is what you guys need to play for. That's what you should want. So make sure you're tuning in. Be sure to check out my friends over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Great things going on with their sports fan network. Got some things going on in the background with them I'm not quite ready to announce yet, so stay tuned for that. But good things going on over there. Can't wait for the football podcast this week, and just hopefully they let Greg talk. And I would love to see Greg come in and pull a half-bake and just be like, F you, Mike, you're cool, F you, I'm out. That's how I would play it if I was Greg. Not that Greg asked me, but if you want to go check them out, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, and then go to Philly Goat. I don't know what's going on over there, but they have all kinds of great championship gear. The shirt with all of the players on it, phenomenal. I told you I ordered my Champs hoodie, which shout out to Philly Goat. It's already been shipped. So looking forward to that. I don't think it's going to be in time to wear to the parade, but I'll be representing some Philly Goat at the parade. But please go check them out. You won't be disappointed at their selection. They got Saquon Barkley shirts, championship gear. You want to start getting ready for Philly season, they got you covered there as well. I cannot talk highly enough about just the quality and the selection they have. So go to Philly Goat. Be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery, all one word, to take 10% off your order. You're going to be buying championship gear anyway, so why not buy from Philly Goat to go along with your official NFL trophy collection stuff? Go to Philly Goat. Their stuff is better anyway. I like the designs and everything. So go to Philly Goat, promo code Jim Montgomery, all one word, to take 10% off of your order. All right, today, this one's going to hit a little bit differently in the wake of Sunday's just dominant performance. It's one of those things, it happened in Philly sports history, so we had to cover it. This would be a lot different had the Eagles not won on Sunday. But today, back in 2023, it was Super Bowl 57 in Arizona, Eagles versus Chiefs, round one. I really, like I said, this is going to hit so much different today. We all know the story. The field was slippery. The Eagles jumped out 24-14 at halftime. 7 of those Chiefs points came on a Jalen Hurts fumble. And then after halftime, it was just all downhill. Jonathon didn't make any adjustments because he was checking out his new office space during halftime, I guess. The Eagles ended up losing that game 38-35. And as I was watching it to pull some clips for social media, it's all water under the bridge now, so it doesn't matter because the Eagles certainly had some missed opportunities in that second half. But that holding call on James Bradbury was absolutely ridiculous. Now, like, you look at it, yes, by the letter of the rules, it was a hold. However, and it wasn't enough to slow up the receiver, and that pass was about 10 feet over the receiver's head. So it wasn't even like it was a catchable pass. That's one of those things, like if it was a closer pass, I would have felt more comfortable with it. But it was just one of those things. Yes, I will go to my grave saying it was a penalty. I will also go to my grave saying it should not have been called. But as I said, the missed opportunities. But Jalen, to his credit, is a big money player. Threw for 304 yards and a touchdown, had 70 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. After the game, they lost both coordinators to head coaching jobs. And then we all know how 2023 worked out with the collapse, whatever we want to call it. But it all does not matter because Jalen Hurts, this Philadelphia Eagles team, used this as the motivation to get their revenge on Sunday. And you know what? I'm always in for a good rubber match. Kansas City, let's run it back next year. What do you say? Best of 3. But on this day in 2023, Eagles lose Super Bowl 57 to the Kansas City Chiefs 38-35, making the revenge that they got on Sunday taste that much sweeter. But again, I'm all for a rubber match. What do you say? Or, since we seem to be avenging Super Bowl losses, what if we play the Raiders in the Super Bowl next year? It'll be out in San Francisco, the old Raiders stomping grounds, the Bay Area. Why not? Eagles, Las Vegas Raiders. Let's get our revenge on them as well. Why not? We've avenged every other Super Bowl loss but Super Bowl 15. So I'm just throwing it out there. Pete Carroll, they bring in Russell Wilson. The storyline's just write itself. I'm not saying that's my prediction, but I'm also saying be great. Eagles, Raiders, avenge Super Bowl 15, and then we are getting VIP bottle service any day in that club that we want it. Finally today, our Black History Legacy Makers with Philadelphia ties. Today we're going to shout out and spotlight Jonathon Baxter Taylor. Jonathon was born in D.C. to former slaves and then moved to Philly as a youngster, graduated from Central High School. He ran track. The 400 was his specialty. In high school, he ran the fastest quarter mile, they called it back then, in the country. He was the third leg of the gold medal winning men's medley relay. And back then, it wasn't a 4x4. I think it was the first 2 legs ran 200, the third leg ran 400, and then the final leg ran the 800. But Jonathon Baxter Taylor became the first African-American to win a gold medal in the Olympics. He did make the finals of the men's 400 race, finished 4th out of 4, but one of his teammates was disqualified for obstructing another runner from Britain. And instead of just moving it down the line like they typically do now, they said, we're going to rerun this race. Well, Taylor and his other teammate, another American, refused to run out of protest because they didn't feel that the race should have been, he shouldn't have been disqualified. So the British runner ended up running by himself, obviously taking home the gold, but nobody ended up with gold or silver and bronze in that Olympics. So shout out to them for actually standing on their convictions. Unfortunately for Taylor, he did not get to bask in the glow of being the first African-American to win a gold medal at the Olympics. Less than 5 months later, he passed away due to typhoid fever. And his career, his life cut short in what would have been likely multiple gold medals for Jonathon Baxter Taylor. He is in the Penn Athletics Hall of Fame and the Ivy League Men's Track Championship, which is the outdoor heptagonal championship. The trophy that the team wins is named after Jonathon Baxter Taylor. So unfortunately for him, he did not get to add to his legacy, but being the first African-American to win a gold medal at the Olympics is pretty damn sweet. So today, our Black History Legacy Maker with Philly ties is Jonathon Baxter Taylor out of the University of Pennsylvania. He was a veterinarian, by the way, too, which is pretty cool. But out of Penn and Central High School, we shout out Jonathon Baxter Taylor, the first African-American to win a gold medal at the Olympics. On this day in 2023, Eagles lose Super Bowl 57 to the Chiefs, get their revenge last Sunday in a beatdown of the Chiefs. I wouldn't mind a rubber match, but truthfully, the more I think about it, I want that the revenge factor. Let's get revenge for Super Bowl 15. 45 years later, let's get our revenge on the Oakland Raiders. Pete Carroll, Oakland Raiders, the ball's in your court. Get it together for this year. Make a magical run so we can crush your dreams in Super Bowl 60 and get revenge for Ron Jaworski, Harold Carmichael, Wilbert Montgomery, Bill Bergey, all those guys. That's next on my list. And that's where we've become as Philly fans. We can start saying, this is who we want to play to get revenge because we already got 2 in the trophy shelf, baby. I do apologize that if I'm a little inconsistent with my, I'm very easily excitable today, but it's starting to really hit me that the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. If you're going to the parade, hit me up. Like I said, likely I'll be around Broad and Walnut, but follow me on my social media. That way I'll keep my location, let you know where we are. Come over, say hello, have a beer, get interviewed, whatever. Like I said, I don't know what's happening. I'm bringing down some microphones and I'm going to record. Who knows what's going to happen, but hit me up. Let me know if you're going to the parade. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. What was the question of the day? I'm all over the place now. Oh, see, I told you, I apologize. I'm just, like the excitement, like I've been keeping it low key, and I think the reality of the situation is finally hitting me today. It took till Wednesday, and I'm like, holy shit, we are 2-time Super Bowl champions, and we beat down the Kansas City Chiefs. I know a lot of you were probably expecting this level of excitement on Monday. I think I was still taking it in yesterday and today, but it's really hitting me like halfway through this podcast. Just the gravity and the enormity of the situation. So I do apologize for being all over the place today. But is Bryce or is it Hurts? Who is the face of Philly sports? It's my man Jalen, QB1, Super Bowl champion. Bryce, you want to take the position back? Have an MVP season this year. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for February 12th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Wednesday, and until next time, go Birds.